He's a great carrier of the ball, a quiet leader on the pitch as well, and his experience.
And up against Stander today, will he be able to step up? Stander's the most amount of carries in the competition. He's been very influential for Munster. When he gets on the front foot, Munster are going pretty well. So Wilson, Standers is going to be a big battle. Two physical guys as well.
Absolutely. They do love their rugby in these parts. We've got a big crowd in today, and hopefully the play will suit those that have come to watch. We should just say, actually, obviously some wonderful tries in the Guinness Pro 12 throughout the course of this season. If you'd like to vote for yours, head to the website. But match commentary this afternoon comes from Jan Evans, Stuart Barnes and Miles Harrison.
It's the tightest Pro 12 season that you could wish for. All matches relevant in round 21. The new format doing just fine. And even though the top 4 semi-final places have been decided, there's no loss of interest considering the importance of those semi-final venues. The Ulster team, nearly the same 15 for 3 interpros in a row. The pack stays the same. Black, the skipper, Best and Herbst, Tui and Van der Merwe. And in the back row, number 8, Roger Wilson, becomes Ulster's most capped Pro 12 player. He's alongside Ian Henderson and Chris Henry. The change is in the backs, where the competition's leading try scorer this season, Craig Gilroy, injured a hamstring last time out against Leinster, so Peter Nelson comes in on the wing. Otherwise unchanged, Pienaar, Jackson, Cave, Payne, Bowe and Ludick. Munster lineup as follows, with Eusebio Ginazzo coming into the front row to join Kilcoyne and Archer. The big news is Paul O'Connell back, and alongside Donica Ryan as starters. 18 months since that happened. Captain O'Mahony, O'Donnell and Stander, Munster's player of the season in the back row. Behind the scrum, Dennis Hurley fit again, and Andrew Smith is with him at centre, with Murray, Keatley halfbacks and Zebo, Earls and Jones the back 3. Replacements and the reserve outside halves. For Ulster, Ian Humphreys, who could have won it with a kick right at the death when these two met in November, and for Munster, JJ Hanrahan, who won't be in this league this November. He is Northampton bound at the end of this campaign.
Well, what a boost it would be for Munster if Conor Murray was to ruffle Ruan Pienaar in the Springboks' own backyard. The scrum half rivals O'Connell as Munster's key man. Good basics and an aggressive running game. Murray is at the heart of this Munster team.
And because of such form, Munster come here in good shape, building nicely for the big matches. Coach Jerry Flannery is standing by to talk to Jan Evans.
Well, Jerry, the top 4 has been secured, but the challenges come thick and fast this time of the season. You know, Ulster have an unblemished home record here in the top in the Pro 12, but you have a terrific away record. Where do you think the game will be won and lost tonight?
I think it's important that we start well. Ulster have a massive crowd here today, and they'll be looking to build them into it. So I suppose the first 15 minutes, us trying to weather the storm there, and some of the key areas are going to be breakdown and probably the kick contest.
A victory here today would allow you, put you in a really strong position for a home semi-final. Are the players aware of the significance of today's game?
Yeah, I suppose we're trying to focus on just this game, but everyone's aware that any time we spend investing and preparing for Ulster, we could potentially be playing each other again later on in the semis or the finals. So it's time well spent, really.
Thanks, Jerry. All the best.
Thanks. Cheers.
Well, Ian Henderson's fantastic form. There's a few Irish journalists wondering whether he can oust Peter O'Mahony from Ireland's blindside spot. Another command performance from the Ulsterman would aid the World Cup prospect, but more importantly, would give Ulster an edge today in an area where they simply must prevail.
There goes Henderson. Along with his colleagues, Ulster have this magnificent support fully on their side at all times, but especially on days like these with another Irish province in town. Here's Ulster head coach Neil Doak.
Well, Neil, there's so much at stake here this afternoon. A red-hot atmosphere here at the Kingspan as well. Is the biggest challenge going to be controlling the emotions and the psychology of it all this afternoon?
Yeah, it's a big interpro within the leagues, so it'll be key that discipline and calming down and making sure you're sensible under pressures is going to be massive today. And obviously with both sides having decent goal kickers, it's going to be a key aspect of the game.
It's been a big upsurge in performance the last 3 months. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, look, probably because we haven't been in Europe, we've had a chance to rest and regroup and prep pretty well for the game, so we're looking forward to it today.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Nigel Owens is referee, fresh from the Champions Cup final last weekend at Twickenham, which passed off without major incident, although Ali Williams might have felt otherwise, should Toulon have not prevailed. So here we go for the second major meeting of the weekend. The Ospreys beat Glasgow last night. Ulster taking on Munster today, all of them jostling for those home semi-final berths. Referee Owens blows the whistle, and it's Ian Keatley. And it's Paul O'Connell, and it's already the referee holding out an arm for that challenge on O'Connell, who's back in the team as a starter. Alongside Donica Ryan, first time since December 2013, and that away trip to Perpignan that they've been together in the engine room at the start of the match. And Dave Kilcoyne, he goes hard, really hard there, the prop. Zebu gets early hands on ball as well. So Munster come flying out of the blocks here. Conor Murray again. Paul O'Connell. There's real bite to this beginning of the match, as I think everybody knew was going to come, this kind of start. Kilcoyne again. It's twice he's carried now, not quite so effective that time in terms of distance. There's Keith Earls. And the retention in the tackle from Munster really good here. Felix Jones, nice step, got away from the first man. Bought a few metres there. In comes CJ Stander, Munster's top performer in so many aspects this season. And there, the ball retention from Kilcoyne at last comes to an end. And Jackson brings it away from Pinar's long pass. And Ulster will be advantage over soon.
Over now.
And that was Callum Black. All through the hands of Nelson, who's come in for Gilroy. Did well to recover.
Well, that's a mighty start from Munster, and it all comes from doing the basics right. Keatley's kickoff was superb. Paul O'Connell, through the years, how many times has he got there in front of the man? He's yanked down, you could see that by the collar. Munster played the advantage, 90 seconds of pressure. The pressure stays on after Nelson cannot handle that pass that was inaccurate.
Player of the Six Nations, Paul O'Connell. And you sense so much more left in his tank. A lot of debate about how long his career will go on. I'm sure he just sits back and enjoys the talk and leaves it to other people. He does his talking in very different ways. Munster a man down at the moment because Tommy O'Donnell was receiving treatment on the far side. Dennis Hurley on the crash ball, sets it back. O'Donnell's not quite right, but the ball is elsewhere with the other forwards. All Munster at the start of this match then. In a territorial sense now. Can a boot get in there from Jackson and keep it alive for Nelson? Could have been a very different sort of start for Nelson had that stayed in from Jackson's little hack through. But Ulster a bit under the cosh here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure from Munster. Retention's good, but Ulster's midfield press was pretty fast, and in the end, it forced Keatley to put the chip in. Really good defence. You could see it coming from the likes of Herbert as well. And in the end, Keatley kicked the ball away, and Ulster almost turned defence into attack there. In the end, his patience went, and Ulster will be pleased that the fly half from Munster decided to kick the ball away there.
And that stays in, and Nelson's away there. Still problems for O'Donnell. An early casualty of this match. Man who played for Ireland in the Autumn Internationals, got 8 caps now, and part of this immense depth in the back row and second row in this part of the world. It's quite incredible, really. And on comes another young talent, Jack O'Donoghue.
It's a blow, though. It was a nice battle between Tommy O'Donnell and Chris Henry. And this game, battle of the breakdown, so important when you play this at a level.
But this guy O'Donoghue, he's a really good player, doesn't have the experience, but tremendous. He reads the game very well, very clever player.
Just 21 years of age. And there's Dennis Hurley, who's made this successful transition from fullback or back three to centre this season. There is Felix Jones, the fullback. The referee wants Ulster to roll away, having made the tackle.
This is perfect for an inside centre. Have a run at the outside half, really try and attack Paddy Jackson. Perfect with Dennis Hurley, exactly what he wanted to do.
And I said earlier, Ulster very quick off the blocks in midfield, and the officials think that time they were almost too quick. It's a habit of Ulster that they press very hard in defence, very aggressive defensive team. But you know, when Nigel Owens thinks, right, I'll have a look, it'll be maybe better for Ulster in the first 10-15 minutes just to hold back a millisecond. What they don't want to do against Munster is find themselves 9-0 down for 3 sloppy sort of errors that didn't need to be forced.
And then you get in a sort of rut, you keep repeating those errors then, and this allows the scoreboard to click over.
Here's the man trying to tick it over, Ian Keatley. In his 99th appearance for the province. And that's a good way to start it. Munster, after a strong first 5 minutes, get the points to show for it. They lead by 3-0.
A total territorial control, and when you have that control, you need to come away with points, and they've done that. Now, Munster started with a brilliant offensive kick-off. Can they handle this one? You see what Ulster do. They go away straight away from O'Connell.
Taken by Jackson and taken, as you say, rather cutely away from the paws that belong to Paul O'Connell.
Back. Vantage over.
Up from Conor Murray. Tommy Bowe was there.
Accidental. Vantage knock on.
And it was knocked on. Which led to an offside, but the referee not too concerned about that, so it wasn't a penalty. And there's Peter Nelson. His last start was in the new year against Leinster when he started as a full-back. He's very versatile, plays right across the back three, winger today, and that's a good kick.
Yeah, and that's an interesting little subplot there. No Craig Gilroy, Peter Nelson been given the opportunity. You can understand what Keatley was trying to do, trying to put pressure on the young wing, but a terrific response. But it'll give him a lot of confidence, Peter Nelson, to gather that kick, not really panic, and get great distance in his return.
Eusebio Guinazu, 36 caps for Argentina. Initially came to Munster on a 4-month contract. That's been extended all the way through to the end of the season. He finds Donnacha Ryan, and now it's in Ulster hands with Jackson looking to move it. There's Jared Payne. Another man who finds himself in the centre these days, like Dennis Hurley of Munster. Oh, there's a big gap for Roger Wilson, and he saw that and nearly went through it. Pienaar to Jackson, that's lovely service onto Dan Tui. Tackled well by Earls, bit of a mismatch in size, but the Munster man brought the giant second row to the floor and needed to. Here's Pienaar to Wilson, who drops it. Kilcoyne is buried. Referee Owens wants to see if Munster can develop a counter-attack here.
Vantage over.
And Zebo kicks for touch.
Quite interesting in the early exchange. You really discern a pattern from Ulster. They like to attack slightly wider than Munster do. Good width from the scrum half. As you see the attack here, the drop ball by Hurley. And Ulster will always show willingness to counter-attack. But look at the width for the Pienaar pass. Immediately puts Paddy Jackson on the outside of the defender. That's the area that Ulster constantly want to probe. Attack wider channels, miss passes with players running from deep at angles.
And that plays into Jackson's strength, because he's a lovely distributor of the ball in midfield. So Pienaar and Jackson can put it wide very quickly, and then they need to get those runners round in support.
Thrown by Rory Best.
Go back.
Pienaar sends in Chris Henry, who was loitering with the backs along with Roger Wilson. But it wasn't the quick ball, it's the driving ball now.
That's a ruck now.
Pienaar still directing. Out it goes to Jackson. Jared Payne again. Made a lot of ground there. Pienaar to Jackson once more. Louis Ludick, nice on. It's lovely, saw what was in front of him there, all right. More scramble tackling from Munster. This time it was Hurley. Dan Tui tries once, tries twice, runs into Stephen Archer second time. Pienaar, no directing that time, he wanted quick ball to find Tommy Bowe. 5 tries this season, 61 overall in his Pro 12 career. Little chip in behind Zebo, who's going to have to move, but Zebo can move and was first to arrive.
Sharp stuff from Ulster, really sharp stuff there. Getting inside the midfield. This time Andrew Smith is a little bit forward and they decide, OK, you get in front, we can't get wide, but we'll cut you on the inside, and that's what Payne does. Picks that line straight away, and if they keep doing that, Ian, that will hold Munster in, and then it gets wide, the opportunities again.
Lovely, good feet. First of all, you had Payne from out to in, and then Ludic in to out. And it's putting questions, put a little doubt in defenders' mind. How do you defend?
Keighley restarts. Slower ball again. Done well here to slow it down, Munster. Ian Henderson, in top form, man of the match here a couple of weeks ago against Leinster. Darren Cave, little show of the ball. He's also been playing really well in this second half of the season. Roger Wilson overtaking Paddy Wallace. The Pro 12 appearance list for Ulster. He's the leading man now. Callum Black, Ruan Pienaar, Jared Payne. Tui called in possession that time. Pienaar. Payne again, he's seen so much of this ball early on. And he keeps taking full advantage in terms of the metres that he's made.
Stuart talked about how aggressive Ulster's defence were the opening exchanges. You see from Munster, far more passive defensive display. They're quite happy to move across the field and giving Ulster good significant yards to really cross that gain line. Very easy. Look at Zebo there, just coursing across the field. That allows Payne to make good yardage.
Yeah, they need to be careful as well, because with Chris Henry back to fitness and Henderson there, if they keep making the metres like that, they're going to get some quick ball. It makes it very hard for Peter O'Mahony and co, if they're going backwards, to slow down Ulster. And we've seen Ulster with quick ball are very dangerous.
And they have the chance to be dangerous there, but it's gone through a couple of sets of hands, or pairs of hands in the end. The first one clearly from Ulster at the line out, and that will be a source of genuine frustration there for the home side. 44 points. And their table tally from their 10 home games this season, all won, best home record, and of course the final to be played on this ground at the end of this month. What an incentive for Ulster, but today against the side with the best away record in the league this season. 30 league points on their travels, Munster. It's all set up.
Get in straight, get your binds long, legs strong. Shoulder out.
What a wonderful arena to play in as well. The atmosphere, it's sensational here.
There's a certain added edge, isn't it, when Munster are the visitors? Bit of bite in this fixture.
And Munster have had such a good record in the inter-pro games so far this year. Really strong showing.
But they also know, Munster, how difficult over the years it's been to win here. Likewise, Ulster in Munster.
Bind. Set.
Penalty to the Munster pack.
You know what I'd say, the point about Ulster finding it hard to win in Munster, I think that day they won the Heineken Cup quarter-final, that was the day Ulster started to grow into not just the bridesmaids with Leinster and Munster on top. They became significant players in Ireland that day.
And you think back to a few weeks ago when they beat Leinster, a significant victory for Ulster, because Leinster had a good record here.
And Ulster did win again at Thomond Park, May 2014. Narrowly, but it was a win, 1917. And their set piece has been going well this season, in particular line out, and Tui there alongside Franco van der Merwe.
Having lost their last line out.
Still, it stacks up over the course of the season. There, it works well for them again. Lovely hands there from Tui. In goes from de Merwe, the aforementioned locks. Here's Payne again. Good leg drive. Pienaar. Tui. 7 wins at the line out in the last round for him. 2 steals. Rory Best, who's been throwing into those big men and doing that part of the job very well too. Here's Cave. He knows he's got Jackson Brown on the loop. That's lovely. Ludick is taken man and board. Timing from Conor Murray was superb. It had to be.
Yeah, the timing from Tommy Bowe wasn't quite as good. He overrun Ludick there. Didn't really give an opportunity to put that pass. It was a take and give under pressure. But you look from Toddy Jackson, an ability to go to that outside, get a second touching ball, wrapping around, keep your pivot involved in the game still.
Gee, that's a really good play there from Darren Cave. Watch the timing of his pass now, into 2, superb there, and Tommy Bowe has just been caught. The old thing, when you loop, the winger has to just stay a bit deeper because there's that extra delay.
Beauty in the hands of Murray and then Keatley. And Bowe goes back and Ludick is there with him.
Stay white.
And the South African gives that a fair old belt, but Simon Zebo, his positioning was good. Ian Keatley. Don't think this will worry Ulster too much with the likes of Pienaar to run it back or even kick it. It's the run this time. Nelson, little show. A lot of pressure on Nelson's shoulders today. In for the league's leading try scorer, Craig Gilroy. Nobody's had a better season than Gilroy. There's another South African, Vean Herbst. Very popular figure here since he arrived. Jackson and Zebo calls for the mark.
Quite interesting the way when Pienaar picks that pass and gets on phase play going. There's a one pass further, he goes one man further, whereas Munster like to involve the one man outside. Big ball carried directly outside. Munster like to go a little bit wider, misses the first man just to pull in defences.
Bit of a banana kick from Zebo.
No angle at all there. It's a pretty decent effort actually, isn't it?
Yeah, not quite in the Carl or Spencer category, but he'll take it.
No one's in the Carlos Spencer category. He's got a category all of his own.
Good and bad. More good than bad, it has to be said.
Well, Best picks out van der Merwe. Pienaar, lovely flat ball. Jackson knew it was on if he could offload quickly. Now it's a chance for Earls, and Rory Best is the man trying to get there, and Earls will get there first. He's got his boot on it. Can he collect? Boot again. And now it's an almighty dive with Henderson. And Earls shows no great reaction there.
Not knocked on, no. Was it knocked on? Huh? 22.
Oh, well, that is incredible play, first of all, by Simon Zebo. But Henderson, we've seen so much of him going forward and in defence. He gets back there and does enough to put that man, Keith Earls, off. Seen Earls at Connaught, he scored a wonderful try with great control. Super decoy run there. That takes the midfield Smith out of play. And suddenly, bang, they're away.
Here's Keatley. Just a 22 dropout then. Could have been so much worse for Ulster that. Just say Henderson tracking back brilliantly. Here's O'Connell having a free run now until Dan Tui hauled him to the floor. Chris Henry very close to offside. And it's Stephen Archer. Came on for a couple of minutes in the November meeting and was straight off, missed the last 10 minutes of the match in the sim bin. O'Donoghue. He helped set it up for Murray. CJ Stander. 8 tries for him this season alongside all the other statistical landmarks that he's been reaching and passing. Here's Keatley over the top of Tommy Bowe. Now, how will it break? Makes Bowe play it. Now this will be interesting. Zebo is side-footed that past his last line of defence. Keatley. Stander again. Murray. Zebo. Has a real end-of-season big match feel, this.
CJ Sanders, such a focal point of Munster's attack. Big ball carrier. But Ulster have been able to marshal him quite well at the moment, not allowing him to gain those good yardage after the tackle. He isn't breaking through many tackles. Good solid defence by Ulster. I go back to Stewart's point. The athleticism of Henderson to get back to prevent that try from Mills. Astonishing for a back row player.
Best throws, Van der Merwe again. Pienaar's hook kick back in field towards Simon Zebo. Murray. Guinazu. Been through a few clubs in France. Now settled in Ireland with Munster for this season. Keatley was crunched and lost the ball, and it'll be an Ulster put into the scrum. Stuart.
Well, just go back to Darren Cave here. Vision. He can see the two Munster midfield men. He is going to fix them, and what he's going to do is enable this man, Jackson, to come round into the space. It is absolutely superb.
I think both sides are taking a well-earned breather. Great pace at the start of this game. Only 3 points to 0, but great intensity. Lots of ambitions on both sides.
Yeah, still defences are going pretty well at the moment. Right now, you would say that Ulster are just picking a few more holes in the Munster midfield. And they've noticed, I think, Smith in particular has been pulling quite wide, and they have just been saying, right, we'll come inside him, see if there's a hole there.
Well, let's talk to one of the Ulster coaches, Alan Clark, watching from the stands. Alan, what's your impression of this really tight and tense struggle in the first 20 minutes?
I just heard some comments there from Stuart and Jan. It's a really tough contest at the moment. Obviously, we've created a few opportunities. We haven't put those away. And games like these, you gotta nail those. You got to get some points on the board.
Line out, just the one blip, I think, but, you know, it's working again either side of that. It's been a major platform for you this season, hasn't it?
Yeah, the boys have been pretty solid all season, and, you know, when you're playing these games, your set piece is fundamentally important. It gives you that platform to launch your attacks from.
And does it have the feel of coming down to one score?
I think it's going to be a tight game, you know. Two good teams, top end of the league, you know, fighting for home semi-finals. So you'd imagine it'll come to that. As a coach, you hope it doesn't. You're on the right side of the scoreboard.
Great stuff, Alan. Thank you. He summed it all up, didn't he, really? Everything to play for here. That vital semi-final berth. Pienaar. There's Dan Tui again, this time on the back foot.
Don't pull him in, don't pull him in, don't pull him in. Rack him, but don't pull him in.
Van der Merwe feeds to Best and then Wilson.
Lost now.
Any which way to find a way to get across that gain line, both sides trying it. Tommy Bowe let it drop. So good on the high ball, high or low, and it drops to the floor. He still makes the catch.
It was well rescued by Tommy Bowe, because that wasn't a great kick.
They watched it, didn't he? Here's Wilson to Ludick, to Cave, and Henderson. Henderson, so strong in the first tackle. Earls was seen off that time. And that was another nearly moment for Ulster. They have created 2 or 3 in this first half.
But they are creating, though. The speed of the ball generally from the breakdown is particularly quick for Ulster. It's allowing them just to probe those wider channels. Plenty of width in the passing game. They're creating those little mismatches and overlaps. At times, seen Henderson desperate to offload that ball, but well covered. Really did well to get across just to cut off the pass But again, they're able to attack these wider channels because they're generating decent ball from the breakdown. But he's desperate to get the offload, but just cut off. O'Donoghue came back and cut off that inside pass, and that's important. Our inside pass would allow Munster to attack again into that backfield.
Must say, from that attack, I was watching it, and I did feel that Tommy Bowe had definitely, he'd overrun earlier from a loop, and I think there's an I think really he's in front of Paddy Jackson, and he catches that ball, and there's definitely a metre in it, and it's really useful there for the fact that Ulster were able to attack. Sliced kick, Tommy Bowe gets himself in an offside position. Not quite getting his timing right. I think he gets away with it.
Both sides in terrific form, one defeat in their last 8 for both of them in this league. In fact, Munster have won the last 3 with bonus point wins. And Tommy Bowe and his team know they've got all on to beat Munster today, because Munster would be in pole position with victory here today. Either side wins today, they go top of the table, but with Munster having a home game to come next weekend against the Dragons, you'd have to say they were in pole if they won this today.
I would put him in a really strong position, Miles.
Here goes Dennis Hurley. Ian Keatley just held himself back. Zebo. Where's that one going to bounce? Louis Ludik. Man in good scoring form himself. 2 tries in the last 3 matches. Roger Wilson again. No Nick Williams, of course, out for the season with that suspension now. Rory Best. Jackson and Callum Black caught by CJ Stander. Up and under from Paddy Jackson. Felix Jones, great catch.
He's not getting them right, is he, Paddy Jackson? That was off the side of the boot again.
There goes Peter O'Mahony. Referee says fair contest, but then he says it's unfair, and Ulster get the penalty that their fans on that far side of the ground were simply demanding. Guy.
Yeah, you'd only be kicking in half court, and Ulster were able to get away with that. But quite interesting on the back of this scrum, and Munster looking to get with a left-footed kicker, get him on the outside as an exit. But I thought there's an opportunity there, not only kick, but take on Darren Cave. When you get a wing on the outside shoulder and outside centre, especially with his attacking talent, I wanted him to have a little bit of a go at Darren Cave there instead of kicking it.
Well, the other thing I would say is that Ludik and Nelson, when they have been kicked to on diagonal kicks, have been in A1 position. At the moment, Munster's kicking game is being read very easily by the Ulster back 3. So you're going to have to vary it a little bit, and for that reason you think, yeah, have a go at Cave, though Cave is a very good defender.
Tui wins the line out. Rory Best holds it in. Was finalist in 2013, last time Ulster appeared in it. He strained every sinew that day, Rory Best, but couldn't get his side over the line. Won the title once, Ulster, way back in 2006. But what a chance this year with a home final. The pot of gold at the end of the season rainbow. Pienaar. Callum Black tries a sidestep. Pienaar again to Jackson. His Payne Jackson, head down. Into CJ Stander. Remember, Tommy O'Donnell limped off the field early on to be replaced by Jack O'Donoghue in that Munster back row. Pienaar wide to Roger Wilson, part of the Ulster back row. That's Louis Ludik. Pienaar again. They're creating sort of quarter chances at the moment, Ulster. Can they create a full-blown chance now? Here's Tui. Pienaar. Herbst. His opposite number, Archer, with the tackle, but the ball's there again for Pienaar. In comes Payne, and then Ludik Worked hard to get inside the 22. Henderson didn't have chance to get the pass away on that occasion. Pienaar again to Jackson. Jackson with a little dummy. He's got support from Cave, but he's dropped it, and then he's thrown forward by Jones in the tackle.
Once again, Jackson trying to find the hole. We saw Cave find a hole and put Jackson into space. That time, Yain, it was the fly half. The one runner drawing two defenders. Beautifully done, and Cave could have done better there.
Yes, but the speed of the ball from the breakdown, very quick, allows Pienaar to put those wide passes. It allows the outside half to attack the gain line. Again, you're asking questions of defences to reorganise, to reload really quickly, and ultimately it's going to create more and more chances.
Yeah, you just get the feel, the momentum of this game at the moment. The speed of Ulster's ball is such, and the fact that all the half breaks, I wouldn't say half chances, but the half breaks are coming the Ulster way. You look at this game, it's 3-0 to Munster on the scoreboard, but right now, in terms of likelihood of tries and scores accumulating, you would say Ulster have a slight edge at the moment.
Munster's defence this season has been good. They've conceded the fewest amount of tries and also points total as well. They've also scored the most. The table, as it stands, sees Munster, if they were to go on and win this game, which would obviously be a major coup for them, they will be sitting top of the table tonight, along with Ospreys just tucked in behind. Ospreys victors over Glasgow yesterday evening by 21 points to 10. And Ulster would find themselves in fourth place with Glasgow away on the final weekend.
And with Munster playing the Dragons at home, you would have to say there would be a fair chance that Munster versus Ulster at Thomond Park would be one of the two semi-finals.
Ospreys, they go to Connacht. Simon Zebo, he goes to the dressing room.
Probably see the reason why he didn't take on Darren Cave, perhaps. Not quite 100%. And that's two players now in the opening 26 minutes of the game. Tommy O'Donnell, now Simon Zebo, have gone off the field.
Ronan O'Mahony comes on. His break-up failed in the November meeting, got Munster going. They were 12-0 down early on in that match. Came back to win it. They've got another scrum penalty here. And it's gone against Svein Herbst.
Yeah, O'Mahony's quite a robust winger, puts himself around. Good step, very strong in the hips.
Done all right in the scrum, haven't they, Munster, so far? Eked out a couple of penalties, and that's a decent punt from Ian Keatley there to give them position. Yeah, the point you made, Miles, yeah, so often people say they're the best defence because they've conceded the fewest tries. Well, that's poppycock. It's about conceding the fewest points. It's about having the defence right and also keeping your organisation and not conceding penalties. And that last 10 minutes of Ulster pressure, a classic example of Munster holding their shape and giving nothing away.
O'Connell to Murray, and then the inside ball from Keatley.
Lost now.
Brings O'Mahony into the match.
Release White.
There's another O'Mahony, Peter O'Mahony, the captain. And CJ stand up. Turnovers, defenders beaten, meters made, most carries. He's top in the charts for the Munster team. Incredible season he's had, really. Turnover ball this time for Ulster, though. Rory Best, Franco van der Merwe, and Dan Tui. Forwards finding themselves in those central midfield positions. Ian Henderson looks one way, then the other. Pienaar, Payne, Cave, Jackson, Ludick. Reaching the half-hour mark, and they still haven't got a point, the home side. Callum Black finds a man in the end, and it was van der Merwe. Now it's Pienaar, switches play to Jared Payne. Takes them on the outside. Ulster must be wondering, when is this clear break or clean break coming from?
One of the things, though, when they get turnover ball, apart from Tommy Bowe, the ball goes wide from Pienaar, and it's tight 5 forwards there. So they've got a couple of pods. One pod's turning over the ball, but then when they want to go wide, they don't have the backs there. So turnover ball actually isn't as good as it looks.
Well, so the Munster are employing a sort of bend but not break sort of defensive strategy, but they haven't got a second guess because they know exactly what else they're going to do. They're going to go side to side and stretch and open, and perhaps a little bit of dink over the top, something that's going to question, put a bit of doubt in Munster's defence. So you need to do, or a pick up and go from one of the forwards close in, something to hold defences and create those little fractures in the defensive line that Ulster will try and exploit.
Roger Wilson just asked there by the referee, along with the physio, do you want to go off for a check? So we assume that's a head injury assessment, and he goes to be replaced by Robbie Dyack. Just confirm that's the issue.
You two just keep on doing it, okay, Mr. Scrum, good. You two, let's tighten it up a little, please, huh? Put your head in, keep it up. Keep the bind up, put the pressure down, okay?
Herb's had a hard time so far. Dave Kilcoyne has looked fresh, he's carried well, been aggressive, and he's getting into the Ulster tie head.
Time on, lads.
You see where Nigel Owens has gone, he wants to make sure.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold it there.
Ulster driving up and through this time. The referee doesn't like it. Home crowd, home pack, thought they had something good going there, but
Not trying to square, lads.
Nigel Owens says you've got to keep it straight forward, not on the angle. It did look on the angle.
Well, at the moment, Nigel Owens has sort of made his mind up what he thinks is happening in the scrum. And what he thinks is happening is that Munster have an edge. Something like that happens, he's really eagle-eyed on it. He's gone there, he's thinking what could happen here, and I think he's absolutely right there. That's not straight, and that is a penalty. Of course, the crowd booed because the momentum is with the home team. They're going forward, but they're going forward because of illegal scrummaging.
Yeah, Archie was going straight there, wasn't he? He popped out because of the screw that
no, you're stepping out,
Ulster were turning
drive straight, then you'll get the rewards.
at an angle.
Yeah, that's exactly what Nigel Owens is telling him. Drive straight. He saw an exasperated look from Rory Best there. He felt that Ulster had the momentum. Got to do it within the boundaries of legality.
Keatley. Good kick. Economy of effort, really. Just enough. Just enough is good enough. 3 more points for Keatley, and Munster, they lead 6-0. A performance built on defence.
47 metres out, that's a very good strike. He knew what he had to do there, and he had enough on that. That's got 50 metres. Really good kick there.
Jackson restarts. Replacement to O'Mahony.
Hughes!
Munster forced into a change in the backs and in the forwards in this first half with 2 injured players. Ooh, Louis Ludic was never going to make that.
Hunters knock on.
Sprawling in for the knock-on, and it's O'Donoghue. Now it's O'Connell. Keatley going wide. O'Mahony goes for the soccer-style flick or trap. Didn't really have much choice with the pass. And Conor Murray keeps the pressure on.
Oh, brilliant play by Conor Murray. 2 back-to-back kicks there. It really not only turned the pressure around from being on Ulster's way, and then gained another 40 yards on top of that. Really, major part of his game, whether it's an Ireland shirt or the Munster game, that's really moved on significant over the past year.
Contrast with Ulster as well, where unusually Pienaar hasn't kicked that much. A lot of the kickings come from Paddy Jackson, and he's been off the side of the boot and to minimum effect, whereas Conor Murray kicks. When he kicks, they regain ball. It's such an important part of the game.
Best throws, and he's right on the money again, this time to Henderson. Replacement Dyack.
Play.
Pienaar, Jackson. Lovely sunshine now, conditions not far off perfect. It was bucketing down in Belfast yesterday, not so today.
It's London inside.
There's a couple of kicks from Paddy Jackson really been caught in him, and they are facing up to a fairly stiff breeze out there. They're at the Munster backs at the moment, and the ball's just been pushed up in the air and held in the air. Isn't quite getting the distance you would have liked. And it isn't relieving the pressure.
Yeah, there's no conviction in his kicking at the moment, is there? He's a lovely passer of the ball, and he's kicking as if he'd rather not be kicking at the moment, and that's a bad old recipe for a fly half.
Munster cut the line out. Down from Donica Ryan. Great to see him back over that foot-toe injury issue, which seemingly at one stage just wouldn't go away. Has now. World Cup in mind. Could be an important figure. Nelson was fired into him, and Nelson was up to the task, calls for the mark, and kicks long. Kept in by Ronan O'Mahony. Coming out of the sun, Jackson takes it.
Stay wide, stay.
Here's Keatley. Kicking battle, who's going to win it here? Tommy Bowe took the decision to try and win it, and didn't that time. O'Connell off to Ginazu. Now it's CJ Stander. Had men outside there, Stander. Kilcoyne. Murray. Stander again. Does enjoy the physical aspect of the game.
He's coming into the game more and more, Miles.
Here's Andrew Smith. Haven't seen too much of the Australian so far, the former Brumby.
No.
We've seen him tackle. And we're going to see Ian Keatley have another go for the post here.
Not through the gate, through the side.
Well, let's go back to Conor Murray here and his box kick. You can see he's in space there. This is where he's going to go. But what I want to look at is Ulster's defensive play. And you can see just coming into shot now is Louis Ludic. And look at this coverage here. Huge space. You cannot give Conor Murray that sort of space. When you do, the ball is going to bounce and Munster are going to regain. Super kick there, but I have to say, you know, we praised Ulster for the way their back three have been defending kicks, but that was very naive, and there was too big a space for the scrum half.
And it's perfect for tackling kicking. If you can find grass, if you find grass and allow the ball to bounce, that gains precious seconds for the chase to pressurise the defence. And on the back of that, compounded Ulster's woes by putting another kick in, equally as effective.
I'd just be very interested to see if Conor Murray keeps doing that at the moment until Ludic just shifts another 10 metres or so.
Here's Keatley again. And he's there again. Going into the weekend, only Dan Biggar had more points this season in this competition than Ian Keatley. And he's got 9 more. I think he's happy with the way he's striking the ball, but it doesn't matter if they go over and you're 3 from 3.
Well, it's low elevation. It's almost cushion kicks at the moment, but, you know, they're going straight through the middle. And that's the 9-0 we were talking about. Little errors, bang. Munster haven't given penalties away. They have the lead.
And we're hearing that Roger Wilson will stay off the pitch after that head injury assessment. So he got quite a knock. Now, we said that Munster not giving it away, but Nigel Owens here spotted the knock-on and a chance for Ulster to do something from this very promising attacking position.
Well, they'll be frustrated. They want something. All the territory, all the pressure they've exerted on Munster, having no points at all on the scoreboard will be immensely frustrating. You get a crowd going, generate some atmosphere, always a great atmosphere here, but been subdued somewhat by what has been an excellent performance by Munster to withstand that pressure and be ahead on the scoreboard.
There is a tension, isn't there, when you've got the possibility of not just a home semi but also a home final. It builds a feeling on the team. Dare say it builds a feeling on the fans. You said, Johan, just maybe needs something here, the players to supply to the fans to take that pressure off a bit, get them going. Nigel Owens gives the penalty, and of course there's more than a hint of irony in the reaction from the crowd. They inevitably feel the referee has just been siding against them a bit, but
can't be advantage.
Nigel Owens, as good as anybody in the world at what he does.
Well, they've weathered the scrum storm, conceded a few penalties, but they've come back. He said the crowd needs something to get them going, and the pack have delivered just that now. And you know, this should be a straightforward kick for Paddy Jackson. It's punted very well, but it's what you pay your goal kickers for. 15 metres out on the 22.
Oh, give me my water, please, the juice.
Bread and butter, as they say, Iron.
Psychologically, getting off that 0 gives you some impetus, particularly as we roll towards half-time.
Everybody expected the game to be tight. I'm not sure anybody expected Ulster to get to half-time with 0 next to their collective name. And Paddy Jackson makes sure that they don't go to half-time with 0 next to their name. Both of these two were the losing semi-finalists last year. They know the importance of being at home. That is what the scrap here is for, and it's 6 points again between the teams.
I think probably Ulster have had slightly more idea going forward, but Munster possibly have managed the game a little bit better, and that means I think this second half is going to be very, very tight.
I think I'd like a bit more variety from Ulster in the second half. They've got to carry on with this amount of possession, bring some variety, get the big forwards to carry, just slow that defense, just re-hold that defensive line from Munster.
How the game started with O'Connell chasing the kick, but this time it's Rory Best, and Ulster might have more of a say before half-time. That was Henry, this is Pienaar, now it's Jackson. Here comes Louis Ludic, just crosses halfway. Pienaar to Dyack, man who's replaced Wilson. There's Tui and Best again. Henderson, he'll certainly straighten things up. Oh, it's a lovely pass on to Tommy Bowe. Tommy Bowe's going to get away, they're going to score, then just a penalty, but a try just before half-time. And this crowd at their backs now, Ulster will suddenly feel anything is possible. What a big swing in this match in the final few seconds of the first half.
3 key men of Ulster central to that try. You said, Miles, the game finished, the half finished as it started with O'Connell winning the ball, but this time, so cute from Rory Best. Best knew O'Connell was going for it. He doesn't even compete. I'll get in front for the tap back. From that moment, they've got the ball. Now Henderson, who's got great footwork as a carrier, now shows his hands. Infield, that's Ulster have worked that one man into 2. All day they've been trying to do it. We've seen Cave do it, and Bowe couldn't take advantage. This time Bowe keeps his depth. He waits for that ball. It's a brilliant finish, but wonderful play.
And he's lethal, Bowe, in those situations, John.
When he gets in an open field, you're always going to back his chances, but wonderful athleticism once again from Henderson.
And Jackson, and what do you know, Ulster have the lead at half-time. 9-0, about to go down the tunnel. Suddenly, Jackson's penalty, Bowe's try, Jackson's conversion, and Ulster lead 10-9. Munster have made their move at just the right time of the season, and they have been playing really well in this match, defensively absorbing everything until this moment, the one try of the half, and 1 point in it.
When the sun comes out and the stakes are raised in the Guinness Pro 12, my word, it can deliver with the very best. And what an intriguing first half we have had. Plenty of opportunities, but none taken, certainly in the first half an hour, 35 minutes or so. Keith Earls went closest for the visitors, but the penalties went over, and they built themselves a very useful 9-0 lead. Paddy Jackson, just before the break, got Ulster on the board, and then in injury time, Ulster finally made it count. Lovely work here from Ian Henderson, drawing 2 men, releasing out the back of the hand, and when Tommy Bowe has space like that, well, more often than not, he does the damage. He scored the try, Jackson banged over the conversion as well, and somehow Ulster have turned it around to lead by a point at the break. And let's just tell you what that means to the table as it stands. Ulster on their way to top of the table. Ospreys obviously winning last night against the Glasgow Warriors, hold second for now. Munster in fourth. Should also just say Leinster confirmed Champions Cup rugby for next season with a win against Treviso last night as well. But still plenty to happen at the top of the table. First things first, it's been hugely enjoyable. What have you made of that first 40, Paddy?
Yeah, I think Ulster would have been coming down into the sheds at half-time. A bit worried had it not been for that last 5 minutes. I think Neil Doak was probably making his way down from his booth to the dressing room, ready to read the riot act. And then all of a sudden he sees his team going into half-time in the lead, which is totally unexpected. But Ulster played actually probably the best of the rugby so far.
Yeah.
They just haven't been clinical in that last sort of 10, 22 metres before the line, and Munster just ticked over the scoreboard.
We'll come on to the Bow try in a moment, but I mean, let's talk Munster first of all. He went 9-0 up through Ian Keatley, and they had a great chance, which we've just seen from Keith Earls as well. What have you made of the way that they've set themselves out in that first half?
Well, I think they started really well from the first kick-off. O'Connell wins the kick-off. Kilcoyne makes that big charge. But the opportunity they've had no real territory. It's come from scraps.
Something from nothing almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think if we...
That's it, hit the play and away we go.
Hit the play and away we go. But I just want to highlight one thing here from this.
Ulster again not showing.
Is the reaction of this guy here, Ian Henderson. Just let it play through and you'll see the work rate from this guy coming back. And he saves his team. Keith Earls is through there. He's ahead of... doesn't bounce up from ahead of Rory Best, but Henderson's work rate is incredible to get back there, and he saved Ulster there and stopped a certain try. I think Munster, it comes from the last kick. Keatley kicks the penalty from the kick-off. Ronan O'Mahony carries it back. Henderson is counter-rucking, and it's a scrum. It's a scrum, Ulster. They get the points on board from the penalty and that, and you can feel that bit of energy that they get from that, and then they get a brilliant try, you know what I mean? And they go in at half-time, and I think... as Paddy said, Neil Doak will be really pleased with that. You
mentioned obviously Henderson in defence there. I mean, arguably he's the man who creates the opportunity for Bow. Let's have a look at the try itself, Paddy. Just talk us through how this is created by Ulster.
Well, smart play from Rory Best from the kick-off. They repeated what they did at kick-off. They went short to Paul O'Connell. Rory slips in, creates the turnover, gives us the possession. But Henderson is such a beast in those outside areas. He's got the pace of a back and the size and physique of a Stephen Ferris, but the subtlety there to promote the ball and create the offload, and we've got a fantastic finisher in Tommy there, who had a disappointing half, overran a few balls, a few kicks, but that'll give him all the confidence going into the second half.
Where do you think Henderson sits in Joe Schmidt's thinking right now?
Oh, he's vital part of the setup, whether it's coming off the bench, starting in the back row or second row. I think it's a great complaint and it's a great headache for Joe Schmidt to have a player like that. His form has been exceptional and he's been standing out here. I think it's been a little bit unfair comparing him to Peter O'Mahony. Peter O'Mahony's been there for the last few years and his level of performance has been very consistent. He's been good today as well, but to have a player like Henderson there playing so good is a great thing.
That he can play.
We saw obviously what the try for Toulon did last weekend in the Champions Cup final. Where do you think psychologically Ulster are now? I mean, you mentioned the concerns they had potentially at 38 minutes. Do you feel now that ultimately
I think it's an incredible boost for them. It was just what they needed. Ulster are very, very good in the latter parts of the game. In the last quarter, they score. I think they're the highest try scorers in the last quarter and concede the least tries as well. So their fitness levels are they can trust in, and I think that'll stand them in good stead against Munster going into the
second. And for Munster being a point down, it's not a bad place to be. They probably would have taken it beforehand, but they need to improve their performance, hold on to the ball a bit more in the second half.
It is the best home team in the Guinness Pro 12, Ulster, against the best away team, Munster, and at the moment it is home advantage, shaving it by just a point. It's been a thoroughly absorbing first half. We've got lots more to look forward in the second as well. It is an absolute cracker as we head towards the end of the regular season in the Guinness Pro 12. Ulster are on their way to a win in round 21. It was 10 points in the final minute of that first half that's turned this one on its head after Munster built themselves a 9-0 lead through the boot of Ian Keatley. But a stunning try from Tommy Bow has got the home side up by just the solitary point at half-time. An absolute cracker of a try. We had another belter last night from Rhys Webb in the Ospreys game. We've had some wonderful tries in the first 20 rounds as well, and we have picked the best of them in this year's Try of the Season competition. And if you would like to cast your vote, then do head to the website, which is skysports.com/rugby union. Munster could do with a try or two in this second half, because if they do, they are heading to Thomond next weekend to take on the Dragons, and arguably that would give them a really good shot at a home semi-final in the Guinness Pro 12. Ulster, of course, need to win this afternoon, and then they travel to take on Glasgow next weekend in what could well be a shootout for another of those home semi-finals. But we'll hand you back as the teams come out to Yarn, to Stewart and to Miles.
Thanks, Alex. And of course, if Munster do lose this, they still have a route to a home semi-final by virtue of the fact that Glasgow and Ulster will be playing each other, and the Ospreys have to go to Connacht, which is never an easy thing to do. But if Munster were to win this, and up until 2 minutes before half-time, that's exactly what they were doing, they were winning the game, then it will put them in an incredibly good position. But Ulster themselves now back in a good position, leading by the 1 point of that remarkable 2 minutes before the interval.
And a much-needed 2 minutes from Ulster. They'd have been pretty forlorn in the changing rooms if they'd gone down 9-0 at half-time, considering the possession they had and territorially where they played most of the game.
Jackson restarts. And Murray. Because half-time will have taken the momentum out of the Ulster surge a little bit. They'll be looking to pick up where they left off. Jackson again to Darren Cave. Oh, Cave! Great run from Cave. And that's Rory Best and Pienaar. So they are picking up where they left off. And they will have fully done that if they get some more points.
He's gone, the ball is there.
Pienaar wants the penalty, but referee Owen says play the ball. Cave and Bow. Well, that didn't quite work, but Darren Cave's charge upfield did.
Well, classic there, mismatch. It's very clever the way that Ulster found Darren Cave a chance to take on a front row forward. Stephen Archer, he'll tackle his heart out around the fringes, but where he's got to move at pace against a back, he is vulnerable. And that was what happened there. Struggling to fill the gap, absolutely blown away by Cave's angle and handoff.
Yeah, quite in a different focus to that attack as well. We got used in the first half of Ulster going wide. That time it's a definite change of angle, cutting back against the grain, and then found that Munster were guilty of over-chasing, and especially with a front row forward there, over-chasing, you're always going to try and exploit that.
If you can come back into that hole 5-10 metres from a breakdown, so often there's a front rower, and it's not that he can't tackle, he just doesn't have the pace to get there, and that's when you're vulnerable.
Knocked down the tunnel from Conor Murray, free kick.
Well, there's a sight for sore eyes. Crooked feet. And there you can see, just not able to get there. Technically not good enough. And Cave through. And it's a good start to the half for Ulster. Finished the first half well. You know, he's just taken too many strides behind to get there. He needs to be in that wall, filling it there and then.
I think about forwards, they're okay in the defensive line, providing they go in one direction. If you hold them and ask him to change direction, you're asking an awful lot of a tight forward to change his angle with the tackling.
Well, they're big blokes, aren't they? You know, they can't turn on a sixpence, so smart play from Ulster.
Interesting decision from Ulster here to go for the scrum. Of course, free kick. They put the ball out. They wouldn't be throwing into the line out. Yeah. So at least they control possession. Wasn't always their strongest suit in the first half, the scrum.
So they do enjoy tackling for first phase ball.
Here's Jackson and Cave and Bow. Pienaar to Payne. Payne and Cave both scored in this fixture here last season, when Ulster were victors on this ground. That's Peter Nelson. Pienaar again, Jackson. Here comes Jarrod Payne. Does know a straight line, does Jarrod Payne. Robbie Dyack. Franco van der Merwe, advantage being played here. You could hear the crowd call it against Ian Keatley, and Pienaar thinks about a quick one, but this is so kickable in such a tight game. it will surely be given.
Don't come this side and block the support coming in.
So Tommy Bowe there hitting the line. Ulster like to use their wings. There's no Craig Gilloria this afternoon, but they like their wings to move up and down the line, looking for the little fractures. So you're looking for the inside pop off your outside half or outside the scrum half. They like using it, and particularly when they go off first phase. They'll always attack off first phase in good field position and like to employ their wings in a roving capacity, just waiting for the opportunity to attack any weakness in a defensive line.
Yeah, they do miss Craig Gilroy, who has become something of a master at that here in Belfast. He's fantastic at that, but there's no one better in... Well, in World Rugby, Tommy Bowe, he's up in the top league doing exactly that, isn't he?
Now, I know we've had half-time since, but it's not that long ago, even including half-time, that Munster were leading 9-0 in this match. Suddenly, Ulster 13, Munster 9.
They've also got a breeze at their back as well, and they want to use that.
Nigel Owens just asking Ian Keatley left or right. I suppose you got every right there to say none of your business. Might not decide until I drop the ball on my foot.
I mean, he's looking for a shortcut to go to the next breakdown, Nigel.
It's too much information, that, I think. Here is Keatley.
Stay red.
Just want you to look at this now. 3 Munster men around the tackle. You got problem? No, you haven't, because Henderson is going to come in and he is going to wipe them out. This is absolutely superb. Bang! He's in hard. He moves the support man, the defender, away. Not only can they not turn over, they cannot slow it down, and that's what's given so many problems for Munster. Ulster making sure the ball is quick.
With a Rugby World Cup narrative in mind as well. That's the other thing that Joe Schmidt likes, the details. We saw his athleticism and his hunger in preventing a try earlier on and offloading for Tommy Bowe, but also those minor details around the breakdown, his ability to fulfill those sort of functions as well.
It's a good line out again from Ulster. Franco van der Merwe adding to his ever-growing total of line-out wins this season. And Felix Jones has a lot of time and the ball obliges to.
I think Ulster will feel that things are going their way now. That wasn't... Oh, that's a quick play from Keatley.
It is a quick play from Keatley, but he's scythed down by Tommy Bowe. Here's Felix Jones. Seconds ago was just dobbing it down for the 22, called into action very quickly. It's worked out all right for Munster. They're up to halfway with Paul O'Connell. Conor Murray to Ian Keatley. See Chris Henry there trying to get stuck in. Keatley again to Ginazu.
That was a good tackle by Henry, just showed the momentum.
O'Donoghue. Conor Murray is going to find Callum Black all over that. CJ Stander.
Back.
Murray. O'Connell. Keatley. Going wide, finding O'Mahony. Knock on the call, I think, yes, confirmed by the assistant on the far side.
Sort of sums up the way it's going at the moment. A number of our colleagues in the Irish press have been pressing the case for Henderson, saying at the very least, hey, Peter O'Mahony's an outstanding player, but this bloke is asking questions. Henderson's having an absolute cracker. O'Mahony, normally so strong in these areas, just lets the ball go. I mean, it's going Henderson's way at the moment, Jan.
They are different types of players, man.
Oh, yeah.
You look at O'Mahony, where his strength lies, very good around the breakdown, really strong there, very evident at driving mauls as well, very physical. But Henderson is a different type of beast, very athletic, it's around the field, comfortable in those wider channels. And just see debate moving forward, where he eventually ends up. Does he move forward to the second row with his mobility? When you look at the modern international second rows, and the likes of Retallick, Whitelock, Alan Wynne-Jones and so on, what's expected of the modern second row?
Is that moving forward or moving back into the second row?
Well, his adaptability is a strength when it comes to squad, but probably disadvantage when it comes to selection for the team.
Yeah, I just think he's so effective, you know, clearing rucks, getting back in the loose, offloading. You know, there is a little bit more oxygen, isn't there, in the back row, and I know that second rows are an evolving beast in front of our eyes, but he looks a very good out-and-out number 6. A different sort to O'Mahony, and it might be that Joe Smith's thinking, all right, I've got 80 minutes out of these two.
And what a lovely position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, and we did see in the Six Nations, when he came on in the second row, he did a cracking job then.
Oh, and look at the back 5 resources open to Joe Smith now, with a return of Donica Ryan as well into the mix. Really strong back 5 for Ireland.
Referee Nigel Owens wants a word here with the 2 front rows.
Space us, please. Get the bindings longer, please. Hit it up. White.
Second row's different breed to back rows, or we can certainly say that front row's a different breed to anybody else on the field. Back row, second row.
Bind.
Set. Whole lot.
Generally their own species, actually.
Pienaar to Cave, and Pienaar again. Missed out paying, given to Ludick.
Maul!
And the 2 centres there of Munster, Hurley and Smith, working hard to hold Ulster up. Conor Murray takes a quick one, but Nigel Owens isn't quite sure whether it should be Munster ball, and it's not. It's Ulster ball.
I want to say excellent defence by Munster. They just shuffled across the field, and all the pretty patterns woven by Ulster. They didn't get anywhere because no one bit on those options. The decoys are running all the angles. They just shuffled across the field. Really good play defensively. No one jumped in. No one jumped in there and allowed those little fractures to develop. They just bided their time and moved across the field.
And what Ulster didn't do there, they didn't get Henderson or Cave-type characters right in the face of the defence. So Munster just watched them and they just pushed them. You've got to get flat against them.
Hand in from Paul O'Connell. Got BJ Bota and John Ryan have come on for Munster in this second half as their props. And Ulster about to make a change in that department as well. Bronson Ross is stripped off, I think. Ludick. Off the floor by Dyack to Jackson, and then Nelson. Nearly Keith Earls in there with a boot. It would have been a race then.
Just watching Paul O'Connell at the moment. There's Joe Smith, huge fan of O'Connell. Just watching O'Connell just pumping his fist now and screaming at his troops. It's almost feeling we've got to get back into this game and get going again. The second half has very much gone away from Munster, despite their best efforts. Of someone like Paul O'Connell, still brilliant at the line out there. That's superb work.
Paul O'Connell has always had the ability to generate those moments of significance in a game.
Yeah, you get some players, you look at their stats and they always look great, don't they? They make 20 tackles and run 90 metres and they won 4 lineouts, but none of them actually amount to key moments. And the great rugby players are ones who do the things that really matter, and O'Connell's definitely one of those.
That's why stats hasn't always been a picture. You need the narrative to go behind it.
Free kick, and CJ Sanders away. Bronson Ross, as you saw there, is on for Vian Herbst. In the Ulster front row, here's Peter O'Mahony. Murray, Stander. I mean, Munster far from out of this game, although it's feeling very different now. It's looking different on the scoreboard, but the score here for Munster. And it changes again, and they know that. And here's Andrew Smith. And Conor Murray to Paul O'Connell, looking to conjure up one of those game-changing moments. CJ Stander, been a few supplied by him this season. BJ Bota, the former Ulster man, now in the red and Munster. Here's Keatley, who's always going into a sandwich. Murray again to Donica Ryan. Got time together with O'Connell against Edinburgh, but not this start that they've had together as a unit today, and Munster will be hoping right the way through this season, all the way through the final, and victory here. Peter O'Mahony. Good, strong work there by O'Mahony. Conor Murray looks to the referee again, and he's got a penalty. Here's BJ Bota. Murray goes for the chip. It's been charged down, so it'll be the penalty virtually in front of the post, I think.
We were on the deck.
So Munster, particularly good at when they're starting to get their A game going. Ball retention, they go through multiple phases and asking questions defenses, forcing them to make lots of tackles, get those big power runners, those big forwards, just generate that momentum moving forward.
Well, think back to the first 90 seconds of the match from O'Connell winning that kickoff. 90 seconds, and they looked really good until they lost the ball there. But for the best part of 50 minutes since then, they haven't been in the sort of area where you can risk playing possession rugby because of the danger of being turned over. They just haven't got themselves in the right positions when they do get there. I don't think they look that incisive at the moment. But, you know, sometimes you can bludgeon your ways to victory, and I think if they get the territory, they've still got a bludgeon to win this game. It's fascinating.
You know, you saw him playing against Edinburgh, another physical side, weeks back, and then he went there and put 34 points to 3 at Edinburgh. But they really mauled Edinburgh to death. They use those big one-out ball carriers just to pummel away at Edinburgh, and they're very adept at that.
And they've given Keatley kicking opportunities, and he was never going to miss that one, so we have what the scoreboard operator could have put up before the kick, really. A scoreline of Ulster 13, Munster 12. 1 point in it again, as we were at half-time then.
Left or right there, buddy. Should they behind you, okay?
No need to ask Paddy Jackson that time. Nigel Owens, left or right? He was clearly lining up left. Murray, no Earls to chase it. He got involved in the breakdown.
Once again,
that's a knock on.
Once again, people often say Conor Murray doesn't put enough depth on his kicks, but I tell you what, just about every time that ball goes back, it comes back on his side. The chasing is good. They get the first touch on it, and they keep the ball.
Yeah. You see, mate, he is confronted with a bit of a breeze at Ulster's back, so that probably held the ball up. Perhaps he needs to kick that another 5 yards further forward again. They're very good aerially, very good today, Munster.
It takes me back to the Ireland-England game when Murray quite often didn't put a great deal of distance on it, but I swear Ireland won every single one of those balls. Every single one.
Yeah, as man of the match against Italy, wasn't he? Conor Murray deserves so much more individually. His accolades throughout the tournament, you felt he had a fine Six Nations, fine international season. There's a man who's certainly come of age at the highest level of the game. Ulster made a change. Stuart McCloskey, their young player of the year, has come on to replace Darren Cave in the centre.
A very big man, will make an impact. Expect him to get the ball in his hands fairly early for Ulster.
Yeah, he might not be quite as subtle in his handling as Darren Cave, but he runs hard, straight, and he's got good feet as well. He's not just a big carrier. He'll try and off-balance defenders.
Saw that against Leinster a fortnight ago. Saw the full McCloskey package as a player. Munster scrum reasserts itself, gets the penalty. Got that bludgeon out again.
That was an excellent scrum from Munster. Easy Paul O'Connell asking his troops for an effort, huge effort. That was a very cohesive, powerful scrum from Munster.
What's very interesting about that, though, Conor Murray was penalised not so long ago for feeding. And that makes it such a competitive scrum then. You see that ball, it goes straight in. Munster know, Ulster know they can't get up to any shenanigans because Owen's going to ping them. So it's down the middle, and it's two sides competing at the scrum, and the best scrum wins it.
No shenanigans in the scrum. Perish for thoughts there.
On that scrum. They do have short memory spans, front rowers, it's true.
Stay out! Keep it up, lads!
Ginazu controls Munster control here. This is a top effort from their pack. Bludgeon is fully out here.
Yeah, it is.
That's a ruck, comes away, ruck form.
Eventually comes to ground, but not until it had made a lot of ground. Murray, Keatley and Smith. Now he's held up, and McCloskey looking at the referee to see what he was going to give, and I think he's going to be happy with the end result from Nigel Owens. Moore was called. It was great work by McCloskey and pals there.
Well, he hasn't had a touch of the ball yet, McCloskey, but his first intervention in the game is absolutely superb. This is the power of the Munster driving game that Ian was saying blew Edinburgh away, but in the end they came up against a fine individual piece of power in the centre. Collectively, the Red Men there have got it all over Ulster, but McCloskey does superbly to turn this defence into possession.
It'll be very gratifying for Munster, though, because it's been a source through the years of their successes, that driving maul, the driving line out. We haven't seen much evidence of that in the game so far, but as we go into the final 20 minutes or so, an ability to kick the touch and make significant yards in the driving maul will help Munster's cause.
But again, it's all about territory, because you can't drive like that in your own 22. You're just wasting energy. Here's McCloskey, uses his upper body strength, stays strong there. He's looking at Nigel Owens. He's telling Nigel Owens, watch this now. Smith goes in. It's a bear hug there. You know, that is the new technique, and that's why you get head collisions, because you can't go low. You stay high, you hold up. That's brilliant.
I said McCloskey and Pels. It was McCloskey by himself. I mean, Henderson was there. I think it was Henderson, but he was almost brushed off by McCloskey. He said, I'll do it all by myself.
Going back to Stuart's point, they're not quite the incision and power in midfield to take on Ulster. And they try to go wide there, and I think Andrew Smith conceding quite a few kilograms to Stuart McCloskey.
Oh, that's a good scrum.
Munster trying to, I think, drive forward as best they could. They feel they've got Ulster here in this area of the game, and look to show it again to the referee. It's calls the mistake, turnover ball. Munster to put in.
That's an interesting call, knock on before the scrum goes down, because I tell you what, had that ball not been knocked on, Nigel Owens in the end would have had to have gone penalty there. Munster have got them on toast there.
The set piece, we saw the driving maul on, and this time the scrum. It's given them significant foothold in the second half and really putting them in a very strong position if they are to maintain this sort of dominance in this area of the game.
I thought Henderson, by the way, went down very early, came off his feet there, tried to bring the scrum down. I think that was very lucky there for Ulster not to be penalised. But, you know, Munster won't be looking for a try here. They'll be looking for a chance for Keatley. They'll look for a pen, I'm certain of that here.
Well, if you're thinking that, Stuart, I'm sure the Munster pack are feeling exactly that times whatever down there to make that point to the referee again, to get the penalty that they thought they should have had, the control of the base bystander. There it is. Absolutely all over the Ulster pack, stamping on them in all the best ways. Nothing illegal there from Munster. What an effort from the 8.
Well, 7 blokes pushing really hard, but keep an eye out on CJ Stander's footwork at the back. Look at this now, because they're going fast. This is not easy. Right foot holding it there. That is absolutely wonderful technique.
Bang on there, Stuart. Quick to compliment his ball carrying ability, but that was good footballing skills. That scrum is going on at a rate of knots.
I mean, now momentum is swung very much back the way of Munster.
Yeah, the stats, as mentioning earlier, he's top of the table for just about everything for Munster, and just generally there in the league.
So we talked about that scrum with the likes of John Ryan and BJ both on the field. That scrum has gone on and picked up a pace or two.
Today, that comparison with what Ulster have been doing, CJ Stander is right up there with everything he does and his control at the base there. As Stuart said, superb at the highest order, and Keatley, given easy kicking chances, will take those all day. Munster back in front. They've had to work for it, but it is again evidence of their character. The men in red, they are some force when the stars align. And that falls for O'Mahony. And O'Mahony chips down the line. Ronan O'Mahony, the winger, and he's got it back.
Oh, just lost on. Just lost on. Yeah, from your own hands into your body, you went forward.
Oh, that was close.
He's looked lively since he's come on the field. O'Mahony, when given a chance, very robust, physical player.
To me, that looked like a knock-on from Peter O'Mahony there. But, you know, you take advantage, and the bounce is now starting to go the way of Munster as well. I must admit, that restart, though... Nigel Owens asked the question as well. He wasn't certain, was he? But his assistant referee said no. So what do? You play on.
Get the rewards, only
He's the best view in the house. So you would hope the assistant referee would pick up.
They're very good at picking out the assistant referees. They normally get the ball right.
Okay. Crouch.
It's just like the pollsters.
Bind. Set.
Just generosity from Stoke.
Like to praise a man doing a good job. Now look at this scrum again.
Warwick on, you can see there, replacing Black. Ulster feeling they need to make a change. Little limp after the kick from Nelson. Felix Jones, where's this one going to land? In the bread basket.
Stay white.
For Paddy Jackson. And Ian Keatley, he's got time. It's not the best, though, is it? The panic did set in a bit.
The crowd groaned a bit when Paddy Jackson put that kick in, but he found grass. He forced Keatley to turn around and go back.
Having said that, yeah, you know, I think he could have gone to that right-hand flank earlier. He's done well there in the end, but Keatley has been the architect of Munster's downfall there. There was a lot of space, and I think that's why the home crowd saw that space. They thought he should have gone diagonal, and frankly, he's got away with that, but it was sloppy play from Ian Keatley there, wasn't it?
Best, Henderson, Pienaar, Tommy Bow! Bow again, pops it up, and Henry just wasn't there in time.
Well, we've seen those no-look passes from Tommy Bow quite often. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't, but no reason to try it. It's a perfectly executed first phase move. Great gap, which they were able to exploit. You had a hooker in the right of the tail gunner, exploited his inability to get and close that gap. Tommy Bow went rifling through. He needed to hold his ground, wait for support.
And the thing about the no-look pass, you have to look before you don't look. I know that sounds daft, but if you don't look at any stage, you have no idea. And Tommy Bow at no stage looked. He assumed Chris Henry was going to be there, and he never had a chance of getting on there. That was poor play from Bow.
He did the no-look, no-look.
You're a look, no look.
Well,
that was a no-look, no-look.
My brain's starting to hurt.
So just two negatives make a positive then, is that what you're saying?
Definitely. It's like a magnet.
But what a move. But you have to exploit those moments. We saw in the first half inability to capitalise on good field position and good moments. Might that come back to bite Ulster?
Now, we saw that Peter Nelson was limping after a kick. He's gone off, and he's been replaced by Paul Marshall, who's primarily a scrum half, as we know, but he's very quick. This boy can scamper, pace a major asset. He goes on the wing.
Munster would love to get to a part of the field, though, where they could test a scrum half on the wing aerially.
Yeah, they're scampering on this top-end speed. And with Keith Earls out there, who has got some significant gas.
So the former British and Irish Lion wing,
who scampered to great effect.
The legs underneath the body stronger. Nothing moves, the ball comes in.
It's a hell of a test of Rory Best here, because his scrum has been atomised the last few occasions, and he's got all that experience for Ulster, for Ireland and the Lions, and this is when you want experience. Find a way just to blunt the edge. of what Munster are throwing at them in the scrum. Anyway, anyhow.
Bind. Set.
Atomize, magnets. Are you doing physics in your spare time?
Was that a healthy interest?
Keatley's kick. And on the angle, it's a pretty good gain.
Go back to this move once again. Really identified as Ginazo at the back, able to exploit him at the tail gunner. But that's and a beautiful angle. But surely when you're there, you have to be aware where your support runners are. Hold on to the ball. You've made the bust. Wait for the next phase. If you can't find the man, don't speculate.
That's really poor from a player of Tommy Bow's class, because he is top-notch player. That's a real opportunity gone. Henry was never getting there on that angle, was he? Never.
The move was so good, he ran away from his support runners.
Good work by Munster at the line out.
That's what you want to do with Marshall. Too long. Too long.
Of course, the mark gets the ball away. He can kick. Yeah, he's not the tallest, is he, Marshall? If Pienaar was out there with his height, but of course he doesn't have Marshall's scampering pace.
It's a good result there for Marshall. The presence of mind when he made the mark to kick quickly and back to the halfway. Good play.
So Marnie, wasn't it, who won that last line out?
I just think here Conor Murray goes box again. He's in a much better position to force Marshall to take it outside his 22 where he can't mark.
There's O'Mahony again, this time on Munster ball. Dave Foley out for the season, Robin Copeland as well. So a lot of work is coming the way of these fit Munster forwards, and they're up to it so far in this match. And Keith Earls was up for it there, literally into the air to make that catch. And here's Paul O'Connell. An advantage being played. Munster still looking for their first try. They've relied on the Keatley boot, but it's been enough at this stage. Will it be enough at the end of the match? This could be a crucial one.
Summed up the game. Munster not looking threatening going wide, but tactically very good. We said there, Marshall is a scrum half playing on the wing. Doesn't matter whether he's 5'4" or 6'4", he still doesn't deal with box kicks all the time. Conor Murray doesn't look to go long into the 22, and Keith Earls is the only man winning it, gets the penalty against naive defending.
When you look at Munster, you look at the experience they have at scrum half, Conor Murray and his decision-making, you look at Paul O'Connell. And when you get outside at this stage of the game, you've identified where the weaknesses in the opposition are, and then having the ability to exploit those weaknesses. You've seen the set piece and how beneficial that's been for Munster. Now you've seen the box kicking also give them a significant territory and put pressure on Ulster. It's one thing to identify, it's another thing to be accurate enough in what you do and execute it well enough to be able to take advantage of it.
Andrew Trimble, of course, injured at the moment and through until the end of the season. And this is a bit of a tester for Keatley, not just because it's now on the angle and not in front of the post, but also the nature of the match and the position in which we're in now. A lot of pressure on this kick. It's a big one. And it is a successful one. Little punch of the air from Keatley. He knows the potential significance of that. Munster lead by 5, over 10 minutes to go, but Ulster, if they want a home semi-final, no, they have to start to dig deep now.
That's his best kick of the day, not just the fact that it's 13-15. That actually is his best strike. Well done, Keatley, under pressure there. Cracking kick.
Tommy Bow
to him as well.
Sorry, on the restart there, Tommy Bow going through and getting a good hand on it. And there's Bronson Ross. Pienaar to Jackson. Here's Louis Ludick. Rory Best. They found their best moments right at the end of the first half. Can they dramatically do it again towards the end of the second, Ulster? McCloskey goes. Marshall has left his wing position there to be scrum half, but the real one is Pienaar.
Red offside.
Through goes Ryan. Referee Nigel Owens sees an offside there, and Ulster have a chance to get those 3 points back straight away.
18 red was one of you.
So if Munster were to go on and win this match, and even if Ulster get these 3 points, they will still be the best place of the two teams. They will be going into the final weekend best place of the 4 semi-finalists, with the home game against the Dragons at Thomond Park. And Jackson gets the 3 points.
I think Ulster, in the bigger scheme of things in the game, I think Ulster needed to score next. They couldn't have allowed Munster to get 2 clear scores away with 10 minutes to go. They needed to respond. Anyhow, but they needed to respond.
This is big now, isn't it? Restart. You can see 3 pods there. 2 of them in your picture. If you come down towards us, you can see Van der Merwe there about to get lifted. And what do Munster do? They switch it. Good thinking always.
And Marshall waits and gets the rebound.
Vantage knock on.
Pienaar.
Vantage over.
Chase from Ulster on the kick there. Felix Jones caught.
Back.
Murray. John Ryan.
It's another great drive. Leg drive superb.
But it's lost. And in goes Henderson and Rory Best. Didn't quite finish the job there, Ryan and Munster. Pienaar. I think Marshall was just a little bit in front. Doesn't matter, because the ball's gone out the full anyway.
We've seen so little box kicking from Ruan Pienaar, and when he does box kick through his career, it's always been one of the aces in his game. And geez, when Ulster needed something from one of their main men, didn't get it there.
He's always been very good at kicking that little rolling kick beyond the defenders. Kicks the top of the ball, so that ball just rolls forward. But he's seen very little of it, if at all, in this game.
Just thinking, if Ulster do lose this match, then how big is that Glasgow-Ulster game next week? They will be hoping for slip-ups from the Ospreys and Munster. Munster, I don't think, will be thinking about obliging at all. Ospreys have got the away game to Connacht.
It's big anyway, isn't it? But it makes it even bigger, you're right.
When you think of the potentially momentous 3 weeks or so that's ahead of Ulster having the final here.
Munster go forward on the scrum again. It's a recurrent theme here for Ulster, and they need to sort it. Jackson, Tommy Bowe. He's got Jones in front of him, goes with the chip over the top. O'Mahony's trying to get back and does the winger, but that wasn't held on to cleanly. It was knocked on, and Ulster have got it quickly anyway. Pienaar throws it out wide. There's a chance here from Warwick. Little chip through. Oh, should have kept it in the hands. Kicked the ball away, kicked the chance away.
Dan Toohey.
And it wasn't a great kick either from the second row. You could hear the collective groan from the Kingspan crowd.
I think of disbelief, Miles, to be honest, that the second row would kick the ball away 5 yards from opposition try line.
I just ask you, put the boot on the other foot. Can you imagine Paul O'Connell kicking that ball away from that situation? That was awful there from Toohey. Terrible.
Entry of White 6.
I knew the ball to be in the other foot. They run the.
I mean, this is a gorgeous pass, by the way, from Paddy Jackson. He's just saying to Tommy Bowe, there you go, mate. And Bowe's chip in field's a good one. They get quick ball. Munster, for once, are disorganised defensively because it's quick ball for Pienaar. Great width on the pass, and he just keep the ball alive. Jared Payne has got an option there. There's a 3-on-2.
And who's defending? CJ Botha was defending there. BJ Botha was defending. Attack him and kick the ball away. The happiest man there would have been BJ Botha.
It's how trophies are won and lost, though, isn't it? Not saying Ulster won't go on to win the Guinness Pro 12, but those are the little moments that champion teams turn into scores.
And one thing will make it a lot more difficult to win the Guinness Pro 12 is playing away from home in the semi.
Leading with a head, which we deem to be foul play and dangerous. So could we have a look at it, please? Here?
Well, this could have implications not just for this game, but beyond. If Ian Henderson has done something silly here.
The head of Henderson. So, what are we going to see?
Kevin Beggs is the television match official who's hunting around
just
with the help of Hawkeye for the best angle of this. Alleged offence from Henderson.
You know, when I analyse that point about Henderson trying to take a man out, what he's trying to do there is clear the ruck, and he's lost his footing.
Is he leading with his head?
No, he's gone off his feet. He's not leading with his head.
Okay, Kev, you need can you tell me, has the head made the contact?
I'm just looking, Nigel. It's difficult to see. I want another angle.
But it's very similar to the piece we analysed. And the problem is now, referees...
The head has made contact, isn't it? Okay. All right, Kev, he's come in, he's led with the head, into the head of another player, so it's going to be a red card against 6 white, correct?
I agree, Nigel.
Okay.
Well, Ian Henderson is going to get some very bad news here, possibly a shock too. Nigel Owens, over to you, referee.
The footage I've seen is pretty clear, okay? You've come in, you've led with the head, you've been careless, you've been reckless, and with the leading with the head, you've made contact with their player's head, and that is a red card offence. So off you go, please.
Well, it's a red card waiting to happen, because you're just saying, at a breakdown, players should not, according to the letter of the law, drive in on their own, and they do all the time, and so they think, you know, I'll just wipe someone out because I do it all the time. I don't think I think he's trying to clear it out, and he's made a contact.
Oh, he's made it out. He's led with his forearm initially, and then the head contacts as well. But you're right, he says, Stu. But how often do you see people entering rucks bound anymore? It doesn't happen. They never get bound.
Well, that's my point about it. It's an accident waiting to happen.
Just saw Ian Henderson there saying he said he led with the head. Looked like he led with the arm, and the head went through after the arm.
I thought he led with the forearm.
I mean, there is more than an element of recklessness to it.
Certainly.
Can't deny that aspect.
I certainly endorse that. But bound onto somebody.
Massive repercussions, not just for this game, but, as we say, for the season. The end of.
Keep it up, lads.
What an atmosphere in the ground as well now.
It's going to be very hard now for Ulster. One man down up front and Munster up in control in the forwards.
Away, White! Lost! No.
Lost Jared Payne early on in a European match here last season, of course. This towards the end of the game, but it still has a major impact, and Munster will be in no rush to get on with it.
Mike will be leaving Kingspan Stadium once again talking about a red card being the major talking point of a significant game such as this.
I think that's even more debatable than the Jared Payne incident to which you're referring against Saracens last season. I honestly think the analysis we showed of him earlier is almost carbon copy, and you can say the problem is the body shape is such that he's not driving low to up, that he's coming off his feet, and as the opposing man goes backwards, he has to go down and hit him. If he drives up, it's not going to happen, but that happens all the time, and he's guilty of accidentally making head-on-head contact, I think.
Yeah, I don't think deliberately went lead with a head, just happened to come in contact. He led with his forearm, but mistimed it. Poorly executed ruck clearance.
There's still a game to win or lose here, and Ulster have got to try and remember that amidst all of this atmosphere and noise, which, in a funny sort of way, just playing into Munster's hands. They have control of the ball, they have control of the feeling within the ground as well, and they might have control of the scoreboard here. If they score to finish with Keith Earls, they have. Earls goes over, and for Munster it is all smiles, and they will care nothing for the negativity coming down from the stands, raining on them, because they will say to Ulster and their supporters, just look at the scoreboard. And they have the title in their sights because they have a home semi-final in their sights.
That's brilliant, because the forwards kept driving, but then they released the ball while Ulster are thinking they're surely going to come at us. And the quality of the passing as Ulster went backwards, wow, that was a fantastic finish by Earls, but the passing to give him the chance, the one-on-one, was majestic.
And they also identify once again with Paul Marshall, a scrum half, defending out wide on the wing. You attack that area and exploit any perceived weakness in the opposition. It's a set piece to drag Munster into this game, giving them a good foothold in the game, and now they're starting to make that tell.
Well, what they've showed, I think, is huge, not just resilience. We know Munster always show resilience, but throughout the great Munster years, they've always been a very intelligent team, and this hasn't been a great Munster vintage, but this has been a very intelligent performance today. When they were down and they were in trouble, they tightened up and they thought their way back into this game.
And this kick to take Munster away from Ulster to the point where Ulster would not even have a losing bonus point. Keatley, well, he's going to come up with a miss right at the end, but his kicks before this point have put Munster in a winning position. Certainly Keith Earls' score there has put them in this winning position. It's 72 points if it stays like this, and Munster top of the table tonight as Ulster restart now, looking for a draw. 14-man Ulster trying to scramble a draw out of this match. That's what it's all about now. O'Mahony, Peter O'Mahony, come more and more into the match, O'Mahony, not just at the line out, but in open play as well. Collision between the two fullbacks. Referee plays advantage for the knock-on from Munster.
Advantage over.
Here's Rory Best.
Hands away, Reds. Advantage knock on, it's over.
Pienaar.
Hands away, Red, lost.
McCloskey looks to make the break. Pienaar again. Ulster looking for that finale to the half that they found in the first period. Payne couldn't take it, Jackson could. Here's Best, looks for the handoff on Andrew Smith. Try scorer Earls is there. Ball kept in field. Here's Pienaar. Payne. Where's that one going to bounce to? O'Mahony sort of was encouraged to come onto it. Might create a little bit of a hole for Van der Merwe. All this without Henderson sent off in this dramatic conclusion to the match here. McCloskey again, all over that Munster, and the referee is going to give a penalty to Ulster, who will use these seconds to think about what's the best form of attack.
Well, they've also got to think, is a bonus point enough for us in terms of getting a home tie? And it's not. I think they've got to go for the draw here. They need 2 points, not just for themselves, but to try and deprive Munster of the points. That's the key.
This is where they need to show composure and be clinical when the chances come their way. They look back in dismay. Tui kicking the ball away, Tommy Bowe not holding on to the ball when in good position as well. They have to capitalise in any field position they got in this moment, because the clock has now gone beyond 80 minutes.
Draw would take Ulster to 69, Munster to 70. Glasgow already on 70, Ospreys already on 70, so Ulster would still be reliant on others, but it would put them in a much better position, and as you say, would deny Munster from being in a really, really good position. Here's McCloskey. McCloskey going to use his strength here.
Again, Omani tries to get over that ball. Just couldn't. Payne, nearly there.
Hands away, Red!
It's not quite inches, but it nearly is. Peter. Jackson. Here it is! It's little Marshall who's running in the corner. The standing winger. But it's going to be a tough kick. No doubt about that. But Ulster do have a chance to get out of this with a draw and deny Munster the win.
What a game. It was a very fine kick. Ulster got themselves into a super attacking position, and this line-out is good. And Munster were not able to slow it down. Even 8 against 7, McCloskey is absolutely vital. That's the initial momentum, and then his mate Jared Payne does well, and the pass is good from Jackson. But what pressure now on Jackson. A pass to give his team a chance to maintain an unbeaten record here in the Guinness Pro 12. A kick to keep that unbeaten record.
Paddy Jackson. And the crowd will tell us. We knew very early on, and so did he. What a strike from Jackson. It might not get Ulster a home semi-final. They will go into the final weekend of the regular season as the disadvantaged one, but they do hold on to their unbeaten record here in Belfast. And what a game they've set up against Glasgow next weekend. Ospreys already on 70, Glasgow on 70, now Munster on 70 as well. They're at home against the Dragons, Ospreys in Ireland against Connacht, Glasgow against Ulster. What a finish to the season, what a finish to the match.
A pulsating game, and that try and that conversion from Paddy Jackson, probably no less than they deserved, because they contributed enormously to how this game unfolded. They had their opportunities in the first half and even the second half through Chewy and Bow. They should have taken advantage. The set piece really dragged Munster back in the game. They were very intelligent in what they brought to the game. But Ulster probably deserved to get a draw out of this. And they maintained the composure in the final third of the field, which what hurt them throughout the game. That didn't really do it, and got them a much-deserved draw. But what a game, and the senior set.
Such a contrast in the two styles. Our Guinness Pro 12 man of the match today, talking to Paul O'Connell, is CJ Stander. He was part of a collective that was blunt, that was powerful, that was organised. They had the power, but Ulster had the extra penetration. Two ways you could play rugby. We saw two teams playing it in different ways today, and a draw in the end, a fair result, a fine performance by Munster, and a heroic get out of jail for Ulster, who, if they do make the final, that's a significant kick, because in their heads they come into this final going, no one's beaten us yet.
And the subplot to all of this in Henderson's situation has been in such great form for Ulster of late. Now, will red card be sufficient? That one to be debated. Ulster would hate to lose him, but what they didn't lose today is the match. It's drawn, and we go to round 22. It's thrilling.
That it certainly is. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. They do say a draw satisfies no one. I think Ulster will probably argue with that this evening, because a man down and 7 points down, they have somehow hauled it out of the fire to finish honours even. What a game we've had here at the Kingspan. This season really is coming to the boil nicely. On Friday night, the Dragons got past Edinburgh. Revenge of sorts, I suppose, for their semi-final exit a couple of weeks ago in the Challenge Cup knockouts. Leinster, well, not at their best, I think it's fair to say, in a 10-0 win against Treviso. Tricky conditions, but Leinster have put themselves Champions Cup rugby for next season. Ospreys too strong for Glasgow Warriors as well. Ben John and Rhys Webb with the tries for the home side there. Still to come this evening, Connacht go to Zebra looking for a win that will keep them in the hunt for the playoff spot. And Scarlets take on the Blues tomorrow in one of the Welsh derbies. So Ospreys remain top. Glasgow Warriors locked on 70, Munster on 70 as well. Ulster a point behind. The top four have 1 point separating them with 1 round to come. It is all to play for in the critical race for the home semi-finals. What a round we have got for you next weekend. We don't yet know what the match will be. We do know that we'll be on air at 2:30, Sky Sports 1 with a full story of what is going on across the league on the final afternoon of the regular season. It promises to be quite a conclusion. Lots more rugby going on across the Sky Sports platform for you right now. Scotland are taking on Wales up in Glasgow in day one of the HSBC Sevens World Series. Both lost their openers. Fiji and New Zealand looking pretty strong, and England looking good as well. Of course, the final round next weekend in the race for Rio. England holding one of those spots right now. Twickenham sold out for the annual Army-Navy match as well, and the Army have dominated this fixture in recent years, and they're in for a score as well. 36-13 they are leading there, and the Brumbies are also up against the Stormers in Super Rugby right now. Joe Tamani with a try for the visitors. Stormers looking like they could be going to 3 defeats in their last 4, and that really is hitting the brakes on their efforts to make the end-of-season playoffs in Super Rugby this year. What a valuable win that would be for the Brumbies. Elsewhere, this evening, 7:45 tonight, we can see if Claremont can bounce back from the disappointment of the Champions Cup final last weekend. They go to Grenoble, who are in that relegation battle in the top 14. That's on the interactive service. Finals day tomorrow of Glasgow starts at 10 on 5. We have got Rotherham against Bristol for you tomorrow afternoon. Bristol with a 12-point lead going into that second leg of the semi-final. That's from 1:30 on 5. And it's the Parisian Derby tomorrow, 3:15, interactive service on the Sky Sports 5 channel for you. Let's get some immediate reaction, though, from CJ Stander, one of Munster's stars this afternoon. Commiserations, I suppose, because the game felt like you had won it. Coming off the field, CJ, does it feel like 2 points gained or 2 points dropped in the final reckoning?
Yeah, you know, Alex, we came up here and to get the points, you know, and Ulster always plays till the end, and I think it was a game for 80 minutes, and at the end they got the try, and we got the 2 points. We're delighted with that, so we're on 70 now with another 3 teams, you know, Glasgow and Osprey, so it's good.
OK, well done to you and your guys, particularly up front this afternoon. It was a very, very eye-catching performance from Munster's forwards. I mean, Ulster, we saw were best scrum in the league, best line-out in the league coming into the game today, but how did you get such an advantage up there? Yeah, it was a physical battle up front, you know, and we knew if we can put in a few good scrums, we can get it up at hand, you know, in the line-outs. Paul and Donna Grind did good work there, and we got a few here and there, but Ulster was always, as they are, good up front, and we knew it was going to be a physical battle. OK, and looking ahead to next weekend, you've got the Dragons at Thomond. Do you feel you are, well, you've got everything you need now to put yourself a home semi-final? Yeah, it's still the last game of the year now, and as it is, it's Cup Rugby, you know, you have to get the points to get to the home semi-final, hopefully, or you have to get a home semi-final, you know, and we're just going to go out, play the game, and yeah, that's it. Well done. You were the Guinness Pro 12 man of the match. I think Ross Brufel is alongside from the Pro 12 to hand you your medal. CJ, well done. And I'm sure we will see you in the final reckoning. Well done to you and your team today. Well, first things first, a pulsating game. I mean, he was obviously disappointed not to come away with a win. How relieved will Ulster be that it wasn't a defeat? Or do you think ultimately a draw is as much damage in the grand shake-up? It probably is. It's a big ask to go across to Glasgow now and try and pick up a winning bonus point. So although it'll feel like we've come away with a win, scoring in the last play and kicking a conversion from the touchline, it probably will not be enough at the end. OK, we wondered pre-game how much we were going to learn about Munster today, and the answer is? They have an excellent pack. I think their forwards were outstanding. Is that enough to get them all the way? Well, I think Conor Murray was superb as well. You know, they didn't have the same line breaks and the same chances. Ulster looked back with regret, but the Munster pack was outstanding. The scrums in the second half, phenomenal effort, and they'll be happy with 2 points, but probably disappointed.